out, and the suggestion was, hey, you should reach out. And so I was real excited to be able to stop by and felt fortunate to connect. So
Yeah.
appreciate it.
Yeah, for me it's a way of releasing too, because you know, these conversations, because I saw a lot of things and I was standing there. So it's one thing to read about it, it's another thing to actually witness it. And then I had to sit in the same room. I'm on this panel with the chief of police here in Detroit, and we're talking about safety for people in gas stations. And you know, I'm protecting this one gas station against a mob of people against the gas station for killing this guy. And what, you know, people don't realize is that number one, I wasn't there for the gas station. I'm there for the people that are going to the gas station to make sure they don't get attacked. And it's about creating safety so no one gets killed. No one should be getting injured. I don't agree with killing anyone for anything, really. So I believe that if we had a situation where a gunman came to kill, we should have non-lethal options to stop him from being able to get at people to kill them. There's a whole bunch of non-lethal things you can do, and where it relates to this gas station, you know, we were able to stop any violence. No one got arrested, no one got shot, no one got stabbed, and all those things were potentially able to happen because it was highly fueled by anger and rage about many gas station killings here in Detroit, both by the people that work there and by the people in the general public. So, you know, people have all that anger built up, and if nobody's there to stop it, it's going to be arrests and violence and shootings, and they were threatening to burn the place down, and I just made them pay. The people, you want to open a gas station here and have a worker that's going to do inappropriate things, you're going to have to pay a lot of money for that. We'll keep you open, but our main function, our main focus was to stop people from getting hurt that are coming here. And that's what we were able to do. We were able to stop anyone from getting hurt. And if we were not there, I guarantee you there would be injuries and deaths at that particular gas station. And that's, you know, again, that's what we take pride in, the fact that we can stop the violence from taking place.
One of the cool things that I've seen since I've been here is a lot of times after dark, yeah, it sounds funny, but homeless people will pump gas for women at gas stations. They won't, and you think like they're trying to get a tip or something like that. Well, they don't help the guys. They don't go up in there and try to help them. But if a woman pulls in a gas station, they'll take the money in for her. They'll, you know, they'll pump the gas for her. They don't want, you know. So there's a lot of nice people here in Detroit, and you know, they're just looking for some way to be safe. And
you know, unfortunately, a lot of times those guys are all, there's guys that are, like he's just saying, and there's guys that act on it. And you can't really tell the difference. So what we should do is create a condition where, you know, all you can do is that. So there's no way you can be the other guy.
well, it's definitely desperation. I mean, but what are you going to do when you know? There's not a lot of you. There's not a lot of guys like you. There's not a lot of guys like us. Well, there are, but they don't know. They just don't know yet. You know. That's what our job is.
To network, to have a lot of people that are those kinds of positive people, all knowing each other and supporting. Sir?
Yeah, the gas station, you were going to make a point about you had to sit with the police afterwards and listen to a safety briefing or something?
Oh, yeah. I was just saying, I just sit there and listen to them talk about, you know, because they're just saying the same thing over and over again. It doesn't really matter which police chief, or they're all saying the exact. They just line them up and just play a video. They're saying the same thing for 20 years. I've been here. It's the same thing. There's no secret police book. Stop asking them. You're talking about having lots of ideas. Saying I have lots of ideas. The reason I have ideas is because I have to. Really, because my ideas have results. Those results are quantifiable. They're verifiable, and they also are what validates me. So in this organization, the results at the end, what happened? Not what did you try to do? What did you mean to do? You went in and you killed a 7-year-old girl. What? What? See, it doesn't matter what before the 7-year-old got killed happened, or why. What matters is a 7-year-old girl got killed. I don't know why they can't get that. It doesn't matter. I don't care who did it, why, or anything. It's bad and it's wrong.
Yeah,
if it's your daughter,
results, their budget gets bigger.
I'm sorry?
If they don't get results, their budget gets larger.
Exactly. No, you're right. And that's the negative metrics. So we say, oh, you have a bunch of murders? Here's some more money. So how will they ever make the murders go down? And so one chief here made a mistake. You know what she did? She started lying. Well, what she did was she changed the way that you define killing or murder. So what she said was, if it's under investigation, it's not a murder. So all of a sudden, murders in Detroit went way down. You heard about Baltimore was way up, and Detroit's way down here. Crime is down. Then she didn't realize this, that yeah, it's good for business and it's good for media. But here's what really happens: we get millions of dollars for having those murders. Detroit police lost $5 million that year.
Oh, wow.
She tried to go back to the stat. She's like, oh no, what I meant to tell you was this, and they wouldn't take it. $5 million lost. But we made like $50 billion in new business for whoever that is that's making money off of that. But yeah, there's a price to pay, and then reality also hurts. So when you look at stats and you think about law enforcement telling the truth, why would they? How is that going to benefit them? Where's the money at in the story? At the end of the day, the objective is to win, not to be honest. And in my program, one of the things that and this is very vital, you have to have transparency. So that's why you see all my stuff out in the open. Also, if you go on my website, you'll see everything's out. It's everything's there. But also, I'll give you an example. They said there was a white officers that were robbing people. I'm sorry, fake police officers that were robbing people here in Detroit. And I told these people, all the time, it's real police. I might have even told you. I told everyone that. There's police officers robbing people. Why? Because they can. It's nothing. It's not, secret nefarious plan. They have guns. They're driving around, and they can rob you. That's why they do it, because they can. And they were talking about this new video that shows these fake police officers robbing people at a gas station. I was like, those are real police. And no one's listening to me. They're like, whatever, the guy's always saying. They pulled one of my guys at one of our stops. We do something called debarkations and embarkations, which is escorting people in and out of businesses. And he's sitting in our black police car with my corporate plates on a big fat symbol on the side. It says armed security on the back. Those are clues. Security really big, not trying to be secretive. They get him out of the car, like 9 police cars pull up. They get him out of the car. This guy, one of my team members, is a white guy he lives an hour away from here, in a double wide trailer, family guy, 2 dogs, 2 kids, a wife, just super nice guy, country guy. And they got him out of the car, and all the officers are also, they're all white. I don't know how that happens either, but all the officers are white. They got him out of the car. He's a Marine, just back from Afghanistan, 2 tours. He talks like this. Yes, sir. This is him getting mad. Yes, sir. This is really mad. He goes, yes, sir. That's as loud as he can talk, I promise you. So he's like, yes, I'm working security, and inside my car is the iPad. The iPad has all of our locations. And what we do is we have, the way I know where all my men are is in real time. First of all, it's feeding data. So we're always tracking their positions, right? We have someone in oversight, a secondary location, that's actually snapping pictures of where they are and storing them. And then we also have a hidden device inside the vehicle. They know it's there, so they just don't know where it's at in there, right? So they can't go destabilize or anything. And then they have to take a breathalyzer before they start the car, and they take a breathalyzer at the end as well. And that breathalyzer results are recorded on video, so you can actually see it calibrate and show their blood alcohol level, both at the beginning and ending of their shift. And have I ever had a problem? No, but what I have had is someone fail it once. And that guy has a college degree from Michigan State University, a CJ degree. Both parents went to all private schools his whole life and thought he was somehow going to trick our system. Anyway, the cops are sitting there and they look at their, what's this? What's this? Oh, also we're live link, sir. He goes, you what? We're live link. Someone's listening to us at all times. The officer's like, someone's listening right now. Yes, sir. At all times, there's always a cell phone that's on in the car at all times. It says oversight, and oversight says, yes, I'm online. We can hear at all times what's being said inside the car. And so then he goes, what's this? And he shows the map. It shows where they were last, what they did last. And there's no way to change it. The data is stored, and it's in an iDevice. So if you erase it here, it's still there and still being shared. So the officer looks at that and he goes, oh, so you just came from here? And it shows the time, the distance, everything. There's no way to change any part of this. So they're like, oh, okay. And the one officer sitting there, he goes, he's resisting. He's got the gun pointed at his stomach, goes, I'm not resisting. And he goes, he's resisting! And he's literally sitting there going, I'm not resisting anyone, I'm not resisting. And they were like, "You resisting?" It's like, no, I'm not
He
resisting.
said resist.
I'm just sitting here. I'm simply standing here, not resisting. And he said at that moment, he never felt what he felt he never felt in Afghanistan what he felt right then. He actually felt he was about to be shot. And he said, "I cannot believe it." Looking at my ID, going, "Oh, you're a Marine?" "Yes, sir. I just got out of the Marine Corps last year," and blah, blah, blah. And he goes, they were literally going to shoot me. I really felt like I was about to get shot. And his hands were handcuffed at the time. Clean cut, clean shaven, mild mannered. He does not look tough at all. And they're literally going to shoot him. He said, "No, I really felt like it was over for me." He said, then one of the cops was like, "All right, you can go, man." They handcuffed him. And, oh, by the way, people that came out of the store, the actual clients, they came out and they go, "That's our security." We walked them out of their store 7 days a week for 3 years. This is where we are 7 days a week for 3 years. So the client's like, "What are you guys doing?" They're like, "Get your hands up." I'm like, what? This is our store. What are you doing? They go in the store looking for this other partner, right? This fake cop. At the end, give him back his weapons, and they take his knife.
Nice.
And so he's like, "Oh, can I have the knife back?" One officer started laughing. It's like a modern kind of sophisticated knife. And he goes, I need the knife back. He goes, "Right." And he goes, "What do I need to do to get the knife back?" He goes, "Oh, wait a minute." And they jumped in their cars and left the scene. The next day they announced that the SWAT team came and arrested the sergeant and the other guy, and it was real police officers. The only reason this happened, where it came to light, is because someone was filming. So if those guys had not been filming, then this would never. The other robberies don't come out, and this is something that no one knows about. This never hit the media. Same situation. It was said that false officers, fake officers, are out robbing people. So what they did was the chief of police, without telling anyone, said no officers in Detroit Police Department, this is just inside, are going to wear a uniform until further notice.
Oh, wow.
What?
I'm sorry, are going to wear, I'm sorry, there's not going to be any undercovers.
Oh, okay.
They're all going to be in uniform. Every officer must have gang squad, every undercover, every detective, every officer must be in standard police uniform until further notice. And all the robberies stopped. So she could announce, she just had to let that go, because clearly that meant the officers, they had said there was these groups of officers, fake officers running around robbing people with what looked like police cars and police badges and everything else, because they're police. I don't know why they don't understand that about Venezuela. A Venezuelan police officer makes like $5,000 a year. Unless he abducts someone, then he gets $500,000 a year. And they're like, well, somehow these fake guys in Venezuela are getting police cars, police badges, police training, police police guns. They got everything. Look just like police, and they're abducting people.
You know, I think that goes to just the level of propaganda in our society to think that people just can't believe that a police officer would do something like that. That even when they're faced with all of this evidence that it's obvious this is what the police are doing, they're just in complete denial that it could happen.
Well, they made a story about an officer who was not on the take in New York City. It was so rare they made a movie about it. Serpico.
Yeah.
Think about it. All he did was say, "No, I don't want to be on the take." And they were like, "Let's make that into a movie." That's all he did was say, "I don't want to take money and do illegal things. I'm a good officer. I'm just here to help people." "Oh, we're going to kill you a lot to try to, and then we're going to make a movie about you and be a millionaire." That's how rare it is for someone to go against the grain. And it's dangerous. Let's be clear. It's very dangerous. And my point is to change, with the system that we have for police officers, it's called the Enforcer Tech system, right? So it sounds cool. But the program is called NICE, Non-Injury Compliance Extractions. And that's exactly what it is. Non-injury. That part, they generally don't like that, but we show them how to do things without hurting people. And we give that for free. And then we have advanced training that's for pay for departments, right? But if they knew, for example, one of the things we show, the first thing we show is someone has a closed hand, how to open it. And we do this in the street, literally, with officers just randomly out in the street. And all you do is press the thumb in. When you press the thumb in, the hand opens up, and that's it. And so I also do it secretly as a mouse green poke.
Do you,
Because we go, how do you open a hand? And you remember, I always remember this, they said Mouse Green had to have his head opened up because they couldn't open his hand. You know, and inside of a hand could be a cracked rock or a derringer, and officer safety is paramount, so when they couldn't open his hand, they had to hit him in the head a lot until his head came open, which makes the hand come open.
Wow.
Yes, it's legal because the officer's life and safety is paramount. So it doesn't matter, he didn't have a weapon. The truth is, number one, none of that's real. They just wanted to kill the guy for some other personal reason. And the part with the open hand, we use that as a poke to say, listen, we'll show you a technique. And you know how many officers know how to do that? I think I've had 1 out of 100. So the way they try to open a hand is to try to be stronger than the other person, which is impossible. So then they're fighting and everything else. This person can be holding someone's hair, holding their clothing, and so instead of knowing that technique and how to do that, they're hitting them with the butt of the gun and all that kind of stuff.
there's a nerve right there too, if you just hit that. I mean, if you
Yeah.
hit.
Well, a lot of times the
that
hitting.
takes both hands. You know,
Yeah,
it's-
yeah, it does. And a lot of times the problem with hitting is that, number one, pain threshold. People can take a hit when
Especially
the
in the
adrenaline starts
moment
flowing.
of adrenaline,
Exactly. The other thing is it looks bad to people. So they're here, he's holding me, and I start, right? That's what it takes. But that technique I showed you, literally, I used it on a guy who looked like Suge Knight, who was holding a sergeant. And the sergeant was using the technique where he was blasting, and the sergeant was in good shape. He was trying to get this guy off of him, and I just came up and pushed his thumb. Yeah, he looked like Suge Knight on steroids with a scar on his face. And the sergeant was just trying to pump gas and go home. He was like, into his shift, I was like, hey, he was like, hey. And he was like this, and all of a sudden this guy walks over and goes, bang, right next to this truck with a 40-ounce bottle of beer.
Oh, man.
And I was like, you need some video right now. Because no one's going to believe that story. This guy was huge, and the sergeant is in good shape, but he's a slimmer guy, like maybe 160. And this guy's like 300 pounds and monstrous. The reason he did this is because there's 2 vehicles full of people that were parked there before the sergeant pulled up. They're doing something. I don't know if they're exchanging girls or drugs or something, but there's some kind of illegal major thing going on here, and he needs to distract them to make sure that nothing happens to this payload or whatever this exchange is over here. And I saw them, but I was now looking at the violence, and make a long story short, I had to help him get this guy under control, and he was just laughing at pepper spray. The guy, in fact, the sergeant hit him with a nice combination in the face, and the guy was like, "You hit like a bitch." The sergeant was like, "Oh my god!" I said, "With everything." And that just shows you the concept of hitting is just stupid. It really didn't work. It didn't do anything for him except, I don't even know if it busted his lip, and it was nothing. And that guy was truly aggressive. He was going to attack the officer if he didn't do something. But make a long story short, we were able to get him into the car, and those cars pulled off, but they were doing something. The whole thing was to distract them. But I'm not sure what happened after that. But they make fun of officers who make mistakes too, by the way. So I'm like on television, like, "Hey buddy, it was a rough arrest you had yesterday." In real life they go like this, they go, "So listen, there's not going to be any crackheads out tonight, so you'll be safe as you go out, because I heard what happened yesterday. There's no high school girls out there, because I heard what happened with Scratch, yeah." And don't get knocked out by a kid. Listen, if there's any high school calls, I got that, because I don't want you to get hurt anymore. That's how they talk to each other, so when you think about officers and they're being called to a scene, remember, if anything happens to them or it's happened to them, they make fun of each other. It's not like there's no support network, like, "Oh, an old person knocked you out, it's okay." There's old ninjas. Instead what they say is, "Listen, you're weak, you're soft, that's why you got knocked out by a kid or an old person or a woman or something." And there's a lot of that kind of internal humiliation, which is another thing that keeps them from being, decent, honest about things like that.
Yes.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. Get their gun taken. So they're standing here, and this one guy said this kid just grabbed his gun and pulled it from him, and he had no idea what to do. So he's standing like this, and the kid just kept shooting the gun. And he said, every time I was going to do something, he said, he'd grab the slide of the gun. He said, and the guy would shoot, and he would loosen his hand just enough to let it feed. It's a nervous reaction to holding something exploding, right? So he's like, "Oh, oh," and the kid's like trying to lift it, and the kid's like 15, 16 years old. And as he's going like this, the other officer comes up and hits the kid. That's the only thing that saved him. There's no techniques. There's no hey, if you get like this and this is what happens, what you do. We do teach police officers how to deal with those kinds of situations so that they don't have to draw a blank and hope for the best. They could actually know how to get the gun out of a person's hand. So, yes, sir.
These defensive techniques, did you invent these things or did you learn them? Or
Yeah, well, I took a lot of different martial arts, but then I got a chance to test them here in Detroit under realistic conditions. I had these volunteers called gang members that just wanted to help us. Like, we're not sure if this technique works, so we're going to just rush you. You guys, you threat management Viper people, do what you're going to do, and we'll see what happens. And then it was constant. We were under a lot of stress, we're the only organization that you could actually call in that would stay the course as it related to managing the threat. So normally the security, what they'll do is complicit. They're like, okay, this gang is here. We can't resist the gang. They want to drag the girl away. It's none of our business. So you just do what you want, and there's no one can stop these gangs. And we were the only organization that would literally stand up to all of them. And but that was the price to pay. I had a lot of turnover. I learned a lot about all different types of people. I had to use guys off the street. Because a lot of the good guys here in Detroit, the way that they stayed good was by avoiding anything that was complex or dangerous. So when you said, hey, there's gangs over here, let's go help the families, they were like, yeah, no. Not going anywhere over there, it's bad guys. Then I go to, guys who may or may not have ever had a legal job in their life. And I say, hey, we gotta help the families. They're like, man, I was thinking maybe I should be a good person. These guys are on that line, and we give them a chance to have a good way of giving back. And that's the way that I started the organization, was off guys who had violated the rules of society quite a bit. And this was their first legal job. This was their first way of legally making money, and a way of giving back to society all at the same time. Protecting people and going up against gangs. And that's how I got it started, was using regular people, right? That did not have necessarily a very good background. But I also got a chance to talk to their mothers, grandmothers. I got a chance to counsel them and communicate with them. And that's also where I got this immersion course of understanding, because I'm standing next to a guy who would normally think differently, right? Otherwise, I'd have a big gap in my understanding. But now I don't have that gap, because the way it worked out, I had to use these same kinds of guys against those other guys. So I got a chance to understand their thought process from both directions. And then I got a chance to see police officers in real life, as I'm paying them to stand next to me. Now, there's a difference between they're getting paid by the government and they're getting paid by a private entity. And I got to see their actual thought process under stress and duress, and what they actually do when there's guns at play. That's the thing about being in this environment, which is unique, is I've been told police aren't going to come. In one case, I was on a building with a rifle. 2,000 families are in a building. The Latino community, they will have women, children, and elderly people all in the same place at these concert events, and the gangs are there. And these are Tejanos and Tejanos don't get along. The Mexicans from the mountains don't get along with Mexicans from the cities, and this is just one of our environments. And so there would be these big clashes. In one case, they were shooting like AK-47s in both sides of, let's say, about a football field difference. And there's 2,000 families literally coming out, and I got about 25 of my men at this one location. And as I'm sitting on top of this building, I call 911, which at that time went directly to state police. And state police all have 3 guns in each car per man. Did you know that? 6 guns with 2 officers.
I don't know if I wanted to know that.
And that's 3 rifles. 3 rifles, okay? Not counting the pistols. 3 rifles. So I called them, and I go, we're in a situation. First, I said, transfer to Detroit. Standard, 2 Detroit cops come up. They start shooting again. They leave. They just backed out and took off. I thought they were going to come back with backup, right? They do in the movies? Like backup comes now. You shot at police or something, right?
Dangerous, let's get out of here.
Right. I was like, did those cops just leave? Are they in the perimeter somewhere? I'm still up here with my rifle on top of a building, and they're